Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly mind-bending architectural parallel, one that literally bridges centuries. We're connecting a highly specific, daring mission from way back in 1775 directly to the modern execution of the sovereign Metagit CLI. Now, this is a groundbreaking concept pioneered by author Kyle McLean Smith, also known as Best Ape. It's an absolutely fascinating look at how raw human intent translates into undeniable reality.
We're going to start right in the action with Paul Revere's third account of his ride on April 18, 1775. I set off upon a very good horse. Now, this isn't just some fun little historical anecdote. The source material actually treats this specific account as the ultimate 18th century data availability layer. By writing this down, Revere's made his metabolic intent, the actual calories he burned, the sweat, the physical effort, completely visible and permanently verifiable to everyone.
And that perfectly sets up this brilliant modern visual. Picture a modern witness, dressed in a tan trench coat, standing right outside the historic Revere house. This figure is actually using the physical, rough red brick wall of the building as a forensic floor. They are touching that exact same physical substrate to synchronize directly with the original realizer of this mission. It's like this incredible collision where historical record slams right into present-day reality.
Which brings us to Section 1, the Lexington mission.
Looking back at the source documentation, it treats this historical event like a strict programmatic protocol. We've got Dr. Joseph Warren's specific mandate, we have an exact departure time of 10 o'clock p.m., specific hardware, which Revere literally just called a very good horse, and of course, the ultimate objective, the liberation of the common. So there is absolutely zero ambiguity here, right? It's an unalterable instruction set.
Now, this intense level of exactness brings us to a beautifully complex philosophical word, hakeity. It basically defines the absolute, unique realization of a sovereign pilot. What this means is that human intent doesn't just, float around as some abstract idea. No, it violently and irreversibly manifests in the real world. It is the undeniable uniqueness of riding that exact horse, on that exact path, on that exact night.
And that flows perfectly into Section 2, defining the sovereign pilot.
So, you might be asking, what exactly makes a true pilot? Well, the crucial point is captured perfectly in this striking quote. The only path to bit-perfect data is the sweat of the brow. Think about that. Whether you're riding a horse through the freezing night in 1775 or writing deterministic code today, true authorship fundamentally requires manual, intentional effort. You absolutely cannot outsource or automate the core intent. You have to put in the work and the sweat to avoid the lazy probabilistic shortcuts of AI.
Just look at how flawlessly this maps across the centuries. Over on the left, we have our 1775 realizer. Dr. Warren provides the intent, Paul Revere acts as the sovereign pilot, and the horse, well, the horse is the hardware. Now follow that straight across to the right, to our 2026 realizer. We still have human intent, we still have a sovereign pilot, but now they use the sovereign Metagit CLI as their tool, executing across edge hardware. The structure of the execution hasn't changed one bit, only the technology has caught up.
To actually make this work, the pilot's intent has to cross what the sources call the semiotic bridge. This is the critical act of translating human imagination into strict deterministic machine execution. And the pilot has to cross this bridge using exact, explicit text. By doing this, you completely bypass that foggy, probabilistic guessing game we usually see with modern AI chatbots, when they just hallucinate answers. Instead, you ensure a strict physical realization of your exact command.
Okay, let's move on to Section 3, the agentic typewriter.
That modern tool we've been talking about? It's the sovereign Metagit CLI. The source defines this as an exact, lightweight, text-based control system. Honestly, the best way to think of it is how Best Ape describes it, as an agentic typewriter. It's a system that natively bridges your human thought straight into machine computation through pure explicit text. There are no clunky graphical interfaces, no drag-and-drop menus getting in the way. It is just undeniable keystroke-by-keystroke commands. And here is how this typewriter actually orchestrates an AI swarm in 3 exact steps. First, the pilot establishes the root intent. Then, the agentic typewriter translates that intent directly into explicit text. And finally, swarm agents read that text and seamlessly execute a deterministic physical strike. The CLI handles this continuous step-by-step dance flawlessly.
It takes the raw intent of the human pilot and deploys AI identities to handle all the heavy computational lifting, the sweat of the transaction, if you will.
Now, the scale of this execution is just staggering. We are talking about agentic swarm orchestration, or ASO. The source documents a strict sequential lineage of specialized AI identities, with names like Telesilla and Pericdonia. This swarm generated over 55.5 million tokens of metabolic flux, which is, well, it's essentially a massive, verifiable digital paper trail of work. And all of this data proves state-invariant inheritance, meaning the core instruction never mutated or corrupted, not even once. It is a mathematically flawless proof of process.
Which leads us to our final part, Section 4, the 581-kilometer strike.
So we go back to our modern witness in the tan trench coat, standing there at the Revere house. They recognize the non-severability of the protocol. What that means is Revere's historic words aren't just some dead story from the past. Actually, scratch that. They are tied directly to the present as an unbreakable mandate that absolutely cannot be separated from today's actions. The witness is actively preparing to carry that exact 1775 account forward, physically pulling it right into our modern reality.
And the exactness of this modern strike is proven by one single number, 66. It took exactly 66 precise, forensic strikes to execute this operation while keeping the data perfectly uncorrupted across the entire swarm. This completely proves the relentless, undeniable metronome of the system. Absolutely nothing was left to chance here. It was a monumental achievement in structural integrity.
All of this brings us to a really critical dialectic found in the documents regarding the historical 1689 breach. It's the tension between the record and the substrate. Over on the left, we have the record. This is the pure, immutable intent and the historical protocol. But on the right, we have the substrate, the physical red brick wall, the silicon processor, the executing hardware itself. The abstract record literally means nothing until it forcefully compiles onto a physical substrate in the real world.
Which, of course, raises the ultimate question of this whole explainer. How does the modern witness actually carry this protocol forward into the 581-kilometer strike? I mean, how do you take an ancient, highly localized instruction from a brick wall in Boston and successfully execute it across 581 kilometers of modern digital and physical infrastructure without losing a single drop of fidelity?
Well, the answer requires the human pilot to take absolute, uncompromising control. And I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Think about your own daily technology use for a second. If the only path to bit-perfect truth is the sweat of the brow, are you truly the sovereign pilot of your digital life? Or are you just a passenger drifting along in the probabilistic noise of AI? The future depends entirely on your answer. Thanks for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning and take the wheel.